All right, homies, it's no secret. eXp Realty is the number one brokerage in the entire world. And we're talking production, not just people. So it's not just a little recruiting company anymore. We're going to have shocking numbers and statistics. In fact, we're going to talk about the top 10 biggest changes that eXp has made. Some of these you probably haven't heard of. Some of them are controversial, and some of them you probably thought brokerages couldn't even do legally. You're not going to want to miss number 10. Trust me on that one. But Jay Diggity Dow, you wanted me to start off with production. This is real deal. So we're going to talk about the numbers that agents are actually selling, how they're selling so many houses per year, even in these struggling markets. But that's all coming up. Number one, we're going to hit them with a banger, Jay Diggity Dow. Number one on the list is this co-sponsorship program at eXp. We just exercised this, teaming up with a massive team, another YouTube team. Let them know what it's all about.
Yeah. So co-sponsorship, this is why people need to like really do their due diligence when they're making moves or they hear the word co-sponsorship, because when people think of co-sponsorship, they think of maybe other brokerages that have co-sponsorship. So the reason that this matters is because some of the other models that are out there is they literally just take, let's just say, revenue share, which is the company dollar that the brokerage pays the agents back for attraction. They take 10% off of the top of that number, and then they split it in half. So essentially, let's just say you have $100. The brokerage takes $10 of that. And then the two agents, the two co-sponsors, their whole organization they're going to each split $90. So they're each going to get 45 for their downline. eXp completely removed that equation. And they essentially, there is no splitting. Each person holds a position, which means absolutely nothing to anybody listening to this. But I just want to be clear that it's completely different, because people will be like, eXp just rip off and duplicating what we've done. Let's just first clear the air. eXp was the first cloud-based brokerage model in the entire world. They revolutionized real estate with the cloud model, followed by the revenue share model. Secondly, they've re-revolutionized the real estate industry by adding this layer into the mix. So what it does is it allows somebody now, let's just say someone's buddies with some other agent in Memphis, Tennessee, and they're like, but they really want to join us at eXp. Now the person doesn't need to choose exactly who they're going to line up with. They can actually choose two sponsors. So that sponsee can choose a sponsor, a primary, and a secondary sponsor, the co-sponsor, which allows agents, in my opinion, to get double the amount of firepower and double up on the value proposition based on what they're looking for. How many agents have I talking to and that you've talking to, Jackson, that have came on and they're like, oh, I wish you were partnered with this agent because they offer XYZ, or I wish I would have found you guys earlier. I would have partnered up with you because you offer XYZ. Everyone should do their due diligence. Everyone should be talking to different people. And if someone's influencing you and you've been talking to them for years, then quite honestly, that's the agent you should be going with, in my opinion, because they're the ones that created the most influence. However, if eXp's never been on your radar and you're looking for added value, and some agents are going to exercise this, some are not. We'll find out in a year what it really looks like. But this is what helped some other brokerages really explode, because they offered this solution. And I do think it's a way also not only for the agents to pick and choose, but it also allows us now to add another layer of firepower, because maybe where we are a little light in supplies or tactical, growth, we can now go partner up with another agent at the brokerage and create another alliance where we're now offering a double the value of what we already have been able to offer. So when I go to the top, 250 team event, top 100 agent attractor event, I'm out there talking to all these other agents to find out what tools they're offering. So that way, when someone hits us up, maybe it's a brokerage, maybe it's a team lead, maybe it's a brand new agent, and they're like, hey, Jesse, I just want to focus on cold calling. I want all the best things. I'm like, all right, cool. You know who's great with that? Ricky Caruth. So I can hit up Ricky. Hey, Ricky, I have this agent that wants to co-sponsor. Or maybe they're a mega team and they're wanting to grow their business. And I'm like, hey, Kyle Whistle. Hey, Dan Beer. Hey, guys, I have this agent that wants to grow their team. Let's let them co-sponsor with us, and then we help them grow their team. Or maybe they're a brokerage owner and they're looking to really blow it up that way. I find a brokerage owner that wants to co-sponsor. So there's a lot of different layers that adds a lot of different avenues of success and support. And I think this is, at the end of the day, it's all about agents tapping into those things. Nothing's the magic bullet. You still have to put in the hard work, but I think this is a revolutionary situation. And like I said, it's different than every other model out there. So you really have to really understand what it is before you cast judgment, essentially.
Yeah. So a few examples could be, if sometimes we get newer agents or agents who've done a few deals and they really want that localized person they can lean on. And
Yep.
then they really are dying to be like in our YouTube coaching program, or just take any agent who's killing it. And so now you have that ability to go, okay, I can actually, hook into the back pocket of my local EXP agent here that has been talking to me, and I can join Jesse and Jackson and get all the YouTube coaching. Best of both worlds. The opposite side of that would be you're like a mega producer, right? You're somebody who does a lot of volume, or you're a team. This is what happened to us. He had like EXP was like the last thing on his mind. But once he realized that he could join his coach, who's a top influencer and leader at EXP, who does like 300 or 500 million in sales every year, he could learn that side of the business. And then we could merge together, join our YouTube teams together to close a maximum amount of volume. He thought that might be an opportunity for us to join, and that would be his only reason for joining EXP. And that's when all this sponsorship stuff started happening. And man, what an absolute opportunity that now all three teams, the Dan Beer team, our team, and then this new Kyler Ferris who joined us, we get to now join all three of us together. We're trying to be the number one team in Houston. So that's the people that you align yourself with. This co-sponsorship thing is massive, and you need to do some due diligence on researching what it's about and who you can join to take you to the next level.
Yeah, just to piggyback onto that, Jackson, let's say that the agent really wants a physical office in their market. So, but they really want to join us. Before, that was never like an option, unless we had a team with that brokerage in that marketplace. So now I know exactly where every physical location is in the market. They can co-sponsor with us, and that, whether it's a team lead or a solo agent that has a physical location, to use that office. And this is, like I said, this is what's going to help us go from where we are today to 150,000 agents, which I think is going to happen in the next 5 years. And, people think that getting into a brokerage early is like the fast track to success. That happens if you're like agent number one. A lot of these agents are already at their scaled version, and I'm telling you, dude, the sky's the limit. And EXP is, profitable brokerage. Glenn Sanford still owns about 50% of the company. The stock hasn't been diluted. They are investing back into the business hand over fist. And it's just, you can completely see the separation. Like I keep saying, it's separation season, and you're seeing the flood of agents, brokerages, team leads piling in here, because the tides of real estate are changing for the good or the better or worse. It's how you're looking at it. What is the number one thing we consistently hear teams and brokerages say when they get to a level like Kyler? What do they say their ops manager is doing with 90% of their time? What are they doing?
Tell me.
They're chasing checks, dude. That's
Chasing
what they're
their
spending
checks,
150
baby.
grand a year chasing freaking checks. So when you can remove all of that out of the equation, and we take for granted that we get paid on demand, it's like, these are the things that I don't even think about anymore. And it allows agents to do what they're best at doing, and that is selling real estate.
Yep. So that's number one. And we had to get some juicy, but you have got to see not only what we have at the end of this, but what they're doing for teams and brokerages too. It's absolutely insane. But number two on the list is an enhanced revenue share model. And this is really important because I think by now most every agent's heard of revenue share. And then there's, well, this company's got revenue share and that company's got revenue share. But eXp just blew everybody's doors off with what they just released. What's up with that?
The reason that eXp is able to be like basically king tut of the space, and this is like first movers advantage. And I'm not saying, like, a lot of people say that like first movers advantage. Here's a good example of that. Redfin just sold their company to Rocket for 1.25 billion. Their original IPO was like 1.25 billion. But if you look at the dilution of stock over time, if you invested $100 into that stock, say when they first launched, and then you cashed out today, people are like, well, I got a dollar for dollar trade. No, that's not true. You're actually, your $100 is now $55 because of the dilution of the stock. So the one thing I love about the eXp revenue share is they retain 50% of the company dollar. So when you have a cap of 16K, if you're a solo agent, or you're a mega team agent, you're $4,000, they keep 50% of that company dollar, and they give 50% to the agents back regardless. So let's, based on the way that they pay out revenue share. So last year they paid out about $220 million in revenue share. So that's dollars going back to the agent, cash in
Unreal.
your bank account, not stock, nothing else but cold hard cash. It's deposited in our bank account on the 22nd of every single month. Now, this is what eXp got a bad taste in its mouth of back in the day, when everyone's like, eXp is just this recruiting brokerage. Well, that's what gets everyone excited, because what it does is it actually gives you a vehicle to exit production if you're someone that is an influencer or someone that is interested in attracting agents. Now, how many agents actually do that? It kind of blows my mind. It's about 9% of the agents earn revenue share. So 9%, that means 91% of the agents here are out there producing numbers at real numbers. So recruiting isn't for everyone. And it's not a magic pill either. It takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. However, if that's something that you're interested in, I think it is a very, very good vehicle to earn income. Some people focus 100% of their time on it. Some people invest zero time into it. However, eXp did what I think is one of the greatest things, and they adjusted the revenue share, which it's now called Revenue Share 2.0. And the reason that they did this was because what was happening is somebody would bring over, let's just say, for example, and this is like I say, this might go over some people's head because of the way it's set up. So people start talking about levels, they start talking about numbers, they start talking about all these things. So I'm not going to get into the weeds. Essentially what they did is they made it possible for somebody joins and they bring over their big team. Instead of them being required to say have 5 producing agents in their direct recruits to activate the next level, it now is they unlock all 3 levels upon the agent's enrollment into eXp. So agents are now going to earn revenue share on all 3 layers of agents beneath them, regardless of whether they have 1 or 500 agents in their direct recruits. This has changed the game. And the reason why that was important is because it was, in my opinion, it was a little unfair for someone to bring a brokerage over, bring over 50 agents, and maybe they didn't have those agents unlocked, right? So now they unlock levels 1, 2, and 3, and then it just cascades down from there. So I think that was very, very important. And also before, remember what I just said, they give out 50% of the company dollar. So last month on our revenue share, we got an additional 25% of the company dollar because agents not having their levels unlocked. So regardless of whether you have the levels unlocked or not, you get a portion of the revenue share. Whatever is left over, and no one else does this, they give the agents the remaining bucket of that money based on the amount of agents you have in your organization in the first 3 levels. So that's called like the buffer. The buffer is paid out on your first 3 levels. So the bonus. So that is, in my opinion, if you're heavy in your front 3 levels, which agents of influence typically are, they're earning more than they were before. So I think this is super, super important because it actually gives more people an opportunity. And it also gives you a sense of like, if you were to exit out of production and you have an organization, it's going to continuously pay. Now, the thing that is interesting is you don't have to be a producing agent to earn revenue share. You can be a referral agent, and they have a referral program. You can actually be a commercial agent and earn revenue share. But the thing I think is most important is actually the revenue share is willable to a family member if you become incapacitated, whether you die or you're just physically incapacitated. So my wife is a licensed agent. God forbid I had something bad happen. The revenue share can just go straight to her, and it just keeps on working just like it currently does. So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah. I actually always let Jesse do the talking, but I have like different perspectives on this stuff too. And so a lot of people come to us and they're just like, I'm not a recruiter. That's a recruiting company. Right. And so there are agents here too that want to leave and go to another company. And so it's always funny to me that they want to be here at eXp. They love all the value that they get from the agents and the training, but yet they go somewhere else to be early adopters. So out of one side of their mouth, they're saying, I don't want to be an attractor. I'm all about, but then they go over to another one to try to get in early. So if you're just trying to get in early, again, you got to do multipliers, right? If you're in the crypto world or the stock world, you're talking about a brokerage that may have a couple thousand agents or 10 or 20,000, and they may double, and that's going to hit the headlines. Well, we're at the 80, the 90, and if we hit 150K, right, we just 5x'd what they did. And that's kind of the growth that you see. And you just will never see it or feel it until you get involved. And in fact, it's like, it's worth it to just take a call with an eXp, somebody who knows what they're talking about and not just trying to get you over, but can add some value. It's a very, very valuable resource that you need to understand. And then I don't even know if you mentioned, Jesse, but I mean, I'm a referral agent. I haven't worked a deal forever, but there are a lot of people who do deals. If you're an icon agent, you get everything unlocked. So
yeah, if you're an icon agent now, so if you're a capping agent, you get 5 levels unlocked for 13 months.
What's a capping agent at eXp?
So a capping agent is someone that does about 2.8 million in production. So if you're a solo capping agent, 2.8 million in production, that means you paid your $16,000 cap. If you are an icon agent, which is hitting the cap and then doing essentially 20 additional deals, they unlock all 7 levels for 13 months. So that in itself is another massive value add that no other brokerage is offering. And to your point, first of all, there's no brokerages at scale. The thing that I feel bad is like a lot of these brokerages, they're in the position that we were in like 5 years ago. And quite honestly, back in the day, people would be like, oh, eXp, blah, blah, like they were kind of sick of it. Now I never hear that anymore. So all of these brokerages that try to claim that they're just like, they're going to get in early, they're at, 15, 20,000 agents, and they're already at their scaled like model essentially. So I always say is like getting in early is like an agent saying they're going to move to some city and they're magically going to start doing all this production because nobody there is doing what they're doing. That's basically being very, egotistical. And I just never, and so I'll follow up with these agents a year later and I'll be like, hey, how's it going over there? Here's what you told me when you left. Like, what's it look like now? And they're like, oh, it's the exact same thing. I haven't put any focus into it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, they act like they have so much influence that they're going to go into this new model and do what they already did, which is absolutely nothing. And if they would have just taken action to get the results that they want, which is just the same as selling real estate, then they would get what they, are putting the effort into.
Yep. We're going to keep going here. We've got some very important ones to cover, and a lot of this is going to cover the things that you've thought about, but also we're going to talk about a few things that you haven't heard of. It may be a little risque, but real quick, I want to touch, it's a cloud-based brokerage model, Jesse. That hasn't changed, but I know, and let's play the devil's advocate, the first few years, it was a little bit more rocky being cloud-based, but what changes have they made recently? And what is your opinion of it as of late? And what truly does it mean to be in a cloud-based brokerage?
Yeah. So a cloud-based brokerage is really just like, it's thinking about like all of the companies that became cloud-based in like 2008. It was Airbnb changed the game. Amazon changed the game. Uber changed the game. And eXp changed the game. They were all created at the exact same time. And it's because there was a huge demand in the marketplace. And realistically, when you were probably back when you were in title and escrow, you probably remember like most agents that were producing probably weren't really going to the office unless they had a big team.
Yep.
Most agents are not using the office. So Glenn Sanford solved the problem by creating a cloud-based brokerage with a cloud-based learning system. Essentially, you can go into the virtual world and get all your learnings. The biggest change I think has happened in the last year with Leo Pereira coming on as the CEO, and he has been really focused on production. So you see this terminology going around, and the tagline is like where the pros go to grow, and nothing reflects that more than our statistics. If you took the top 20 teams against any brokerage in the country, they would rank number 6. That's just a fact. Yeah, it's insane, dude. The amount of production. And if you look at the production per agent, it's 5.9 deals per agent. So if you look at economies of scale, the bigger you are, the lower your average deal per agent should be. And this is what agents like will try to use this as a tactic to recruit agents away. And they'll say, look at all these agents leaving eXp. At the end of last year, they offboarded a ton of agents that were non-producing. However, nobody ever looks at Starbucks and says, how many employees does Starbucks have? And that's the value of their company. No, that's stupid. What you should look at with regards to any brokerage is the volume they're doing and the volume per agent they're doing, and are they growing? Because if they are, it's what I always say, success leaves clues. And that's exactly what's happening here is we're growing our volume and we're growing our deals per agent. Compass is the number one brokerage for volume per agent. They're at 6.1 deals per year. eXp 5.9, but they have less than half of they have about 50% of the agent count as eXp. Actually, they're at about 30,000 agents, I believe, and we're up in the 60s here in the US or North America. So they have, whatever that is, 55% less agents. If you took us down in that number, our average deal count would probably double. So the next Me Too company that's out there, they're in the 2 deals per year per agent. So when you look at like where the pros are going, it's eXp. And the reason why, it's if you look at this model and you talk to any savvy brokerage owner, team lead, and this is why all of the number ones are here, is because they know that this is exactly where they need to be. Because like I was saying, the biggest pain point is like chasing checks. eXp does all the heavy lifting. They take care of all of those things for you. The liability is insane anymore out there. Everybody's trying to sue everyone. eXp takes all of that over for you. eXp floats daily $30 million. So that way we can get paid on demand. So as soon as we get a copy of that check, the money goes right into your account. So there's so many things. And when you talk about like what has changed in eXp University, there's learning paths. So if you're a solo agent and you're an emerging agent, let's just say you're an agent that has done a couple deals and maybe your business is suffering, or you're a brand new agent looking to get started. eXp was never known for a brokerage for new agents. However, we now have a fast cap program. They will get you into production within 6 weeks. For the people that did the activities in fast cap, they were averaging 5.9 contracts per agent in those 6 weeks. The agents that just showed up and did the bare minimum, it was like 1.9. So literally you'll do 3 times the amount of production if you just follow the activities. So the other day I made a post saying, if you're an agent that's struggling or you're a brand new agent just getting going, hit me up. I'll plug you in. They do it in the morning and they do it at night. So that way, if you have a secondary or a primary job and you're just doing real estate part-time and you want to get into it, perfect option. If you're a Spanish speaking agent, they have Spanish speaking fast cap. Perfect. Now, let's say you're a solo agent and you're producing and you're like, I just need something more. They have solo agent mastery. That's for agents doing 4 million a year and above. If you're a solo agent, if you're a team, they have Team Leader Academy. If you were to buy, Team Leader Academy is predicated on the EOS system, which is Entrepreneur Operating Systems. I was just at the event for the top 250 teams. Every single one of them's on EOS. I asked them, how much is this outside of eXp? They're like, every year it's about 50 grand. We offer it for 2,500 bucks. So and then when you look at team leads and brokerage owners, this is why they're coming, dude. If you're an aspiring team lead, you can go into Team Leader Academy. It will show you. I wish I would have had all of this when I was getting started, because now it's like I have to restart from where this is and then implement it into my business versus starting early and putting the ball out in front of where I want to go. Mm-hmm. And so when these markets are where they are, you're hearing all these agents like, I'm not generating any leads. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing any of that. It's because they're falling down to where their systems and where their lead generation's at. This is exposing the reality of everyone's business. This is like when the market shifts in the stock market and you see these banks going out of business and you see people being busted for Ponzi schemes. It's because when the market's low and the pressure's on, it exposes everything. So this is now where you're seeing the teams repositioning themselves. And in Q1 of 2025, you saw like 6,000 agents move. It was like the most in the recorded history. Or maybe it was, I can't remember the exact number, but it was crazy. Producing agents and producing teams. And every day I see another top team, number 1 Keller Williams team, number 5 Keller Williams team, number 1 Remax team, number 1 Compass team. Like the list goes on and on. The number 1 recruiter at Real Broker moved to eXp. 3,000 agent organization moved to eXp to start over at scratch. And when you see her start over, guess what? She went from 0 to 100 and that took about 90 days. And then you saw her go to 250. That was about another 30 days. And so you're just seeing the economies at scale in place. And, you know, people will use everything they can outside of eXp to try to throw shade on it. I'm telling you, it's the only thing they can do. They can never lead with value. When I talk to the agents, I say, if anyone ever tries to recruit you, always understand what position they're in. If they're not trying to help you grow your business, it's not the right move. At the end of the day, it should always be production number 1. Everything else is a byproduct of production.
Yep. Don't be recruiting by get lucky chances. It's all about, here's how I can help you grow, man. Couldn't have said it better. And that actually goes right into number 4, which was robust training and support. And you just kind of touched on it. But that's also through the cloud-based brokerage that's online. I teach that. Icon agents teach at it. If you could, like a 2-minute pitch on really what the training is, and you're somebody who's now closed 700-800 homes across the country, you go to these things every day. So this isn't just like, hey, newbie, go hang it out. This is the best of the best hanging out in there.
Honestly, like the support, let's just talk about support for a second. We have a 24/7 hotline. You can call it at 3 a.m. We have like a 97% resolution rate of whatever the problem is with over 280,000 inquiries. And every time you call that number, they send you an NPS score. So that's rating how well was the problem handled. 97% success rate, dude, with that volume on a 24/7 answering service. That is, back in the day, getting a hold of your broker was nearly impossible. Still to this day, the agents that are in physical locations that have a broker on site, they have to schedule a time to go in. If they're lucky if they get a response from a text message. We not only have that as like a secondary support, that's like secondary to like our brokers being on demand, right? If you want to go speak to your broker, cruise into eXp World. If you want to talk to a transaction specialist, cruise into eXp World. You want to talk to a compliance manager, cruise into eXp World. You're having technical problems with the university, cruise into eXp World. Dude, I haven't even talked to you about the tools, about like what they give us to actually help do all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's about production, and time is of the essence. Time kills all deals. That's just the facts. They can talk about how a time kills a real estate transaction. But at the end of the day, we need to get our problems solved fast. And in the world of AI, we don't even understand what's coming, dude. Augmented AI is going to change the world. When I see augmented AI inside of real estate, the agents can't even comprehend. We're still messing around with creating Barbie dolls and writing scripts for emails. Dude, that isn't even a fraction of what's coming. Imagine throwing your transaction into a file form and then everything gets done for you in transaction. Dude, the person that I think I'd be the most nervous to be is a transaction coordinator, to be honest with you. Because
you actually went to that event though, and you said, and I know some of this isn't public forward facing, but is eXp going to be a leader in some of this AI, and they're going to offer it to their agents?
Yeah. So actually eXp is an investor, a bunch of AI. I don't know, in a company out there called Fixer. And that's like an email system right now, which we've already tested, and it organizes all your emails. It understands your voice. It sets up replies, and it just makes what takes you 2 hours now. It'll cut it down to about 2 minutes. And yes, eXp is heavily invested. Our chief technology officer, our CEO, and Glenn Sanford, they were all down in the Silicon Valley a couple of weeks ago, seeing what was coming. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. You can either be a trailblazer or someone on the path following the trailblazer. And there's always going to be fast followers. But the reality is if you're not understanding and adapting, the thing I love is you get on the eXp call, they sit there and give you step-by-step instruction on how to build your own GPT. They show you how to increase your commissions. They show you how to increase your value propositions. This isn't all like talking heads and people just talking a big game. These are all actionable items. I just got off a call with our downline a few minutes ago, and I was showing them all how you can take buyer predictions in your buyer demographic, plug it into this tool, spit out a website that's perfectly formatted for your target demographic, and then you can run ads to this web page. Now you're able to use that as a value proposition when you're interviewing for a listing, and no one else is doing that, dude. So not only are you getting the listings, but you're getting it at a higher rate than ever before, because you can actually show that you know exactly what's going on. So that's why when everyone's all sitting up there teaching this AI stuff, dude, I just sit there and laugh at it, because the crap that they're teaching is all so surface level, generic stuff that they're plugging in the chat GPT saying, tell me the top 30 things I can do with GPT in a real estate business. And it gives you the stuff that we were learning over a year and a half ago when GPT was brand new. These guys are fake.
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing to me to see the numbers that come out of the company structure. So that means actual profits. If they're paying the agents that much money, that is insane. 50% of the money is going to the agents, and they're still that profitable. That only tells you one thing. You guys, people can make excuses. People can make, statements all they want, but their number one goal is getting you as many resources as possible to get that production number up. And so when we have one of the highest agent counts, if not the highest, and then one of the highest closing rates, you can see how all this is kind of mended together and melted together. So I just want you guys to know that. And next up, number 5 on the list is commission structure. So there has been some changes to this for everybody, for individuals, for married couples, for mega teams. Mm-hmm. Why don't you go over that?
Yeah. So the one thing that eXp has never changed, so when people look at, the one thing I say this over and over, look at what your leader is saying and what your leader is doing, and that is where they're trying to take you. Mm-hmm. All of the Me Too brokerages are always changing the comp structures to increase the fees. The reason they do this is because when they increase the fees, it increases the bottom line of the company dollar. If they increase the commission, the split, guess what, Jackson? That would increase the revenue share. So when they're like, we're doing what's best for the agent. Well, if you're doing what's best for the agent, you should be increasing your splits. So therefore it pays out more revenue share. That's a clear indication of like what they're really doing. There's a lot of all the other Me Too companies are always increasing the fees. We are not adjusting the splits. And when you talk about like what has changed, the biggest change, in my opinion, is when you cap, you go into a transactional fee. And what I mean by that is when you're an icon, to hit icon status, you have to cap and then pay an additional $5,000 in transactional fees. And then they give you $16,000 in stock back. Now, before, if you and I split a deal, or if I referred a deal and I returned a 25% a referral fee, and I was capped, I would pay 25% transactional fee. So of 250, it would be 25% of that transaction fee. So 25% of 250. So whatever that is, it's $70 and change. Now I would have to do 4 times the amount of deals to hit icon, right? So if I referred that deal to an external agent, guess what happened? They charged me a full $250 transaction fee, whether I got a $25 referral fee or 100%. What eXp changed, which I absolutely love, is that now you pay a full transactional fee on a $25 referral or 25% referral fee. And the reason that that's important is because now I still get my icon when I do 20 referrals versus having to do 80 before at a 25% split. So I've had agents hit me up to like, oh my gosh, I freaking hit icon 10 times faster. How'd that happen? I said, thank the company. And here's the thing. People are like, well, doesn't that mean I'm going to pay more money? It's like, if you're going for icon, they're going to get you to that $5,000 quicker, which gets you into a post icon transaction fee, which is $75. So no, you are not paying more money. It's actually a huge benefit to the agent. So the other piece, and that's for if you're a team lead, a solo agent, or even if you're a team agent paying a full cap, you can become an icon agent. Now, for the mega icon teams, there are some changes out there. They're not public facing yet, but it's going to be an absolute game changer. And I can't really speak to it. So if you're a team leader out there and you're just like curious about what that looks like, it just hasn't been made public. So I can't really speak to it.
But you can reach out and we can tell you. These are all things that are case by case too, guys. So
yeah,
you need to see where you're at in your business and where you want to go. And honestly, if you're somebody out there who's just doing a couple deals or 1 or 3 or 5, and that's kind of your path, then maybe a 16K cap 80-20 split isn't your thing. And to be honest, I don't know if that's eXp's thing. You can see that they're focused on maximizing volume and production. And so what does come up to me a lot, oh man, that's a lot of money. That's, 16,000 here and there. But when you start calculating what you get back in stock, so I've made 6 figures in stock, and that's stuff that you can sell the second you get it and put it into companies like an Nvidia or whatever you want. You can do it. You can buy a truck with it. But what you also need to understand is with that, if you're going to start maximizing your business and doing 30, 40, 50, 80, 100 transactions, you're saving money. Jezza, that's like your favorite calculation is when we talk to a lot of teams, wanting to join and big agents, and we start putting the pen to the math there, pen to the paper, it starts penciling out pretty handily.
Yeah, no one's ever going to save their way to wealth. And the thing that's really interesting to me is like when you see people like, this is the biggest difference between in any business. The people that are the most successful, dude, they always say it's like what I used to ask like really high level coaches, like what's the difference between somebody that's like making $1 billion a year versus someone that's making like a million? And you know what they would always say, and please don't find any offense to this. They always say those people making $1 billion just have bigger balls. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, they're not scared. The people that have a scarcity mindset, they're like, I see it with everyone. They get into this protection mode. And they're like, sometimes people are just so dumb, they don't even understand like what the risks are. So they're just blazing forward and they're just going. Dude, I've been in some of the craziest high level coaching. Even with the Patrick Bet-David coaching, there's this guy on there that was making $30 billion a year. Jeez. Dude, this guy, it blew my mind, dude. But then what that guy told me about saying that they just had bigger balls, it totally made sense. I was just like, this guy just doesn't have any idea. And so what happens is in markets like this is agents they're trying to save every last penny. And when I talk to these really top producing teams. Like, dude, I'm talking people that have 200 deals in escrow right now. They'll ask me like, hey, how's the market going? And I'll tell them and they'll be like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we don't even pay attention to that because it gives agents an excuse to let their foot off the gas. And also like houses sitting on the market. They're like, oh, every house is sitting on the market. No, you have to put the pressure on the client to get their house sold if that's their goal, and then make them understand. Like, and then if their goal isn't to sell the house, then don't put it on the market and waste your time. Like I see agents that have 50 listings and they're not selling and they're not moving. And then they use the excuses the market's just slow.
Yeah.
It's like, I was on a call the other day and I said, well, if 20 houses are active and there's 0 pending in the area, then there's probably not a buyer. And then the agent had to remind me, he says, what'd you always say? If you had the house listed for $1, would it sell? It's like, yes. So is the seller willing to accept that? Absolutely not. So then therefore you're wasting everyone's time and resources.
Yep. We got a few more to get into here, and these changes are unheard of. These next few that we get into, but you keep mentioning this big room you're getting into. Why don't we just add a little value to the people out there? What the hell are they doing to like get deals, close deals in this market? As agents do struggle, you see these other ones just like exploding. What are they doing differently?
Dude,
is it just that simple shit?
Yeah, I would just say this. eXp in the last year has done a phenomenal job, especially with Leo as the CEO, is they have just different trainings and different masterminds and different events for different levels of production and different levels of influence. So for example, every quarter they do an in-person event, and it's for the top 150 or top 250 teams. That's on one day with the top 100 solo agents.
How much production does like a top 250, the 250th team do here?
I think they said that the top 250 team in dollar figures, it was in the 60 million range.
Jesus, that's 250?
Yeah, 250. But there's the I think the
50th place, you got to beat 60 million. That's you're in a league of your own up top, baby.
I talked to a solo agent that was there, and he was like, he was a 50 unit producer, and he was there, so he was out of Ohio. But the top teams are doing like almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
A year.
And so people watching this right now could actually get access to that team.
Dude, I'm literally sitting at a table. Last week I was literally sitting at a table with the #1 team in the United States, just shooting the breeze. And I'm like asking them like, where are your deals coming from? And then I come home and then they're showing me like how they increase their commissions, how they do this, how they do that. And it's like real action, dude. It's just like, you can't even, I literally told you, dude, I'm like, I was there from the minute it started, and I was going back to my room at 1 a.m. because I'm like, I'm going to absorb and learn everything I can from these people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, there's so many like tips and tricks and value adds that is priceless. You're literally sitting there with like the #1 recruiter, solo agent recruiter of non-social media. I'm talking about real in-person recruiter. And I'm like, how do you do it? What's your tactic? And he literally went through the whole thing from A to Z. People were recording, dude. Like 5 people had their phones out, dude. They were dying left and right. It was crazy. And this is like all in a restaurant. Like this is after the learnings parts. They had John Sheplack there. They had Mike Del Preti there. It's the real deal, dude. And then the tools and the resources that they give us is, I've already talked about Team Leader Academy and all that stuff. I haven't even talked about like the $85 a month eXp Advantage and like what that gets, and like the biggest game changer that they just dropped right now when we're on this call.
We'll hold that for the end. Hold on.
Okay. Secret. Jackson's hooking you guys now.
Man, I am hooking. Well, the problem is we got like these other ones that they got to hear about.
So, so you asked like what the value add is, dude. There was a 19-year-old kid there, 19 years old. He's like, my goal is to do 100 open houses in the next 100 days. And he was in the top 250 team lead academy, or top 250 teams. 19-year-old kid, top 250 team. He's just like, I don't care. He's like, I don't care what anyone says. I am just going. So this guy is out there taking massive action. That's all it takes, massive action. I just saw someone make a post. They're like, I haven't had a lead in 2 months, and it was ever since blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, that is the vibe you're putting off, bro. That is your vibe. Like, get out of here. Get out of my way. You're ruining my day.
Well, and it makes people do stupid things, and that's the hard part. Because to say that I always do the right thing or you do is that's stupid. No, that's
because here's
that's
the thing.
the truth.
Here's the thing.
You can take different paths.
Changing brokerage is the single easiest thing to when you move brokerages. This is why agents move for the most part, is when they move, guess what happens? Everyone's congratulating them. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, go, go, go. Everyone in the new brokerage is cheering them on. And that lasts for about 60 days. And then it's all back to the even playing field. So like no one outside of real estate knows what a brokerage means. They think you got a new job. They think you're getting a promotion. That's all ego-driven excitement. And the reality is the rubber's going to meet the road again. And I'm telling you right now, it's just like when you move from like EXP to, or not EXP, say Keller Williams to Remax, you see like incremental gains because you're learning a new skill set that maybe your broker, your direct recruit is teaching you, right? When you go from like a franchise model to like a cloud-based model like EXP, you see explosive growth. And so like you'll see someone like Kyler Ferris who left, it was at EXP. He wasn't around the right people. He leaves, he builds a brokerage from, solo agent to 50 agents in 3 years following John Sheplack's coaching. And then what happened? He's like, I need to take it to the next level. What did he do? He boomeranged back to EXP. That is exactly what we know is that within 6 months, 10% of all agents return back here to EXP. And it's because they are sold something. And that's the worst thing I think about like misleading people is they're going to get exposure to whatever's on the other side of the fence really quickly. And if it isn't a true value add, it's lights out. And so
value add is in production, like helping you with your business. The thing that
it's all about increasing the volume of the agent's business or it's someone it's all about time. And they're like, I want to do the same amount of business and just have a lot more time. Okay. That's going to be a different pathway. Let's put you with someone that does that.
Couldn't have said it better. Number 6 on the list is the Icon Agent Program. Maybe not too many changes to what an actual icon means, but I think we've said icon a lot, and there's probably a few people who understand what it is, but like, can you kind of define it and what an icon actually means at EXP and its maybe 2 or 3 top benefits?
Yeah. So it's when you hit your cap and then pay an additional $5,000 in transactional fees. So it's essentially like if you cap in 4 deals, you have to do 20 more for 20 times 250. So 20 deals times $250 transaction fee.
You said it, but can you do it as a referral agent?
Yeah, we do it. That's basically what we do.
Yep.
So like I said, it made it a lot easier when they changed the transactional fee structure, which I freaking love.
Yep.
So you get 8,000. When you hit it, they send you a notification. Hey, congratulations, you're now an icon agent. You get $8,000 in stock back immediately on the close of the following month. So if you hit it, that's just because like of the way that the stock market works and being a publicly traded company, that's the way they have to do it. So they give you back 8,000 in stock immediately, and then you earn the remaining 8,000. So half of that is done by attending one of the EXP events, so regional rally, EXP con, whatever it may be, or you can go into or one of the local events. The other 4,000 is done by what they call what do they call that?
The
culture requirement.
Yep.
So it could be teaching at an EXP event, regional rally, teaching at EXP con, teaching in one of your broker meetings, or going into EXP World and teaching a class. The thing I think is so cool is if you're an agent that's like really big into education, used to be an icon agents could only teach the classes at EXP. Now they have the availability. If you're an EXP agent, you go into the EXP World schedule and you can put in there, submit a class. So now any agent can go in there and submit a class to teach to the other agents. One of the coolest tools I ever learned about was from a top agent in our own market, which was HomeBot from Fitzmaurice. I saw him using it. I went and put it into our business and we got like 6 listings out of the gate from it. So it completely changed our game. And that was learning it from an agent, not even in our organization, at our own brokerage. And so when they talk about collaboration, it's like anything else. If you don't plug in, you're not going to get the benefits. I just talked to an EXP icon agent in our organization, and she's like, yeah, I close about 40 deals a year. I'm an icon agent, but I've never known about any of these benefits because I just simply don't plug in. And so I scheduled a Zoom call with her, never met her in my life, and jumped on. I showed her a couple of things, showed her how to plug in, and she's like, this is amazing. Thank you. She wanted to build a team. She was a brand new agent. She never knew how. She's like, I just did what I thought I needed to do. Gotcha, that's crazy. 40 deals a year and never got formally trained. That's wild.
Hey, it's where the pros go to grow, right, J-Dow?
Exactly.
I don't know what number we're at, but we're getting towards the end.
7.
And I know I've got 2 more at least, but this is a really cool one. It's the Boost and the Thrive program. And just to define it really quick, these initiatives offer financial incentives to brokerages and teams joining eXp. The Boost program, it targets larger brokerages, while Thrive is designated or designed for teams with at least 10 agents and 40 million in annual production, providing support, scale opportunities. So any of you out there listening who are, well, goals of getting big, or you're already at that team level, there are some incentives. What are they, J-Dow?
So Thrive and Boost those are good guardrails of what you just stated, but they're pretty much they've pretty much eliminated it, but it's just all it's all individual based.
Yep.
And so this is the thing that drives me the most insane in this category. Like if I just had like if I had something that like was like, this drives me the most insane for every category, like this would be this specific one. It's somebody thinking they know what's best without having all of their information. I've seen people screw this up so many times. So so it's an
emotional decision.
100% emotional and ego.
Yeah.
They think they know what's best. They don't even want to take a look at it. So I've had multiple people join eXp, and then I told them, I said, hey, let's get your numbers. Let's put everything on paper. Let's meet with the onboard or the growth team and see if we can get you an offer and an incentive to come over. You know, without getting all the information, it's hard to make those decisions, right? So I've had teams move over, and then like 2 months later go by, they're like, oh, I didn't know there was this incentive. I said, remember when I was trying to collect all of your numbers to give to the growth team so that way we could see if we could make you an offer? That's what it was. But you said that you didn't want to do it, so it's too late now. So you have to do it before you make the move. So I've actually had multiple teams and brokerages go through this process. Dude, I've seen offers, 6-figure offers going out, and I think it's super cool. And it's like, you know, you don't know until you try. And 2, it's like, yes, you have to be culturally aligned. So what does that mean? It just means that you have to be on board with whatever the eXp programs are. It's a very simple thing. And I've had 8 brokerages with over 110 agents get an offer before. I've had teams with 10 agents before getting offer. It's really cool. And just know, whether you're a big team or a small team, or you're a big brokerage or a small brokerage, it's always worth going. I've literally had brokerages, Jackson, that were like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I'm just like, why? It makes 0 sense to me. Just see what happens.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Put the numbers out there. I don't know why they don't do it. I literally don't. It's so weird to me.
Don't be that person.
Don't be that person.
Reach out to me and J-Dow. First of all, let's just look at your business and see how we can help you. And second of all, we can get you that meeting that he's talking about, because you're probably somebody out there who would take that 6 figures. The next one I want to talk about, which is really cool, one of the biggest changes that I have seen recently, as there's a lot of, you know, other companies starting and a lot of noise out there, attracting the top teams. Like, talk about some of these teams. Why are they coming? You're in these rooms with these people. Why is eXp attracting just mega teams and just high volume people?
At the end of the day, and I will say this forever,
and it's been recent. Like, big teams have come, but in the last like 6, like something has changed.
Oh, okay. I can give you the top 3 reasons. Number 1, it's Leo Perea, the CEO. It's a game changer, dude. We literally went from like people scoffing at eXp to like eXp being the golden standard of real estate.
Yep.
Look what happened through the NAR settlement. We led the charge. We didn't sit back. We did exactly what NAR should have done. That was all led by Leo and Holly Mayberry. Those 2 individuals. And I tell Holly, dude, the other day I saw her at the event. I said, look, what you guys have done has been revolutionary, and we really appreciate it. And agents at other brokerages appreciate it. And that's the thing, is when you are magnetic and you're doing the right thing for the industry, people want to be around that. And it's a natural draw. So before, when there was this big persona of eXp being a recruiting company, that was one. But when you have somebody leading from the front and making decisions, that really puts eXp on the forefront of like, this is the golden standard of brokerage operations. That is now a direct reflection of the company. So Leo was an icon in the industry already before with the companies that he created. He was, you know, already an executive with eXp before. And what I mean is he migrated into the CEO role. It just, dude, it has been a breath of fresh air, and it has really engaged a lot of the agents back into the mix. And it wasn't that the leadership was bad before. It's like anything else, dude. The bigger you grow and the faster you grow, and I hear like big consulting companies say this, is like when you hit certain levels, you need to hire up. And the thing is a lot of people don't know what that really means. So, to get you where you want to go isn't necessarily doing the things that you did today to get you to where you want to go, right? So you need to put different people in different positions, and different seasons of life require different things, right? No matter what, whether it's your personal life, family life, or business life, you just need different things. So right now, for where we currently are, and you just saw it too with clear cooperation, you saw us out on the forefront once again. And a lot of people are scared out of their minds. And what you need in a time of duress, in a time of uncertainty, is certain things. And you need to know that your leader has a backbone. And if you looked at two brokerages, and I'm actually kind of excited to even say this, is we came from Next Home, and you see James Dwiggins, he's another big voice in the industry that's doing what's right. And so I just like the fact that you see these two companies doing those things, where you kind of see everyone else sitting back and like kind of like seeing where the cards fall, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have somebody that's making those moves and someone that's taking action, it changes the game. And the thing that I met this guy that was raising money for this missionary down in Paraguay. And you know what he said is, he said, "Hey, I have this opportunity, and you can buy 1/5 of this coffee bean plantation. And I just want to let you know that I need to know within the next like hour if you want in." And he said, "Because I've learned in my last 30 years of doing this, time is of the essence, and there's somebody will want to invest in this." And I was like, holy crap. This guy literally was just like, if you want in, go for it. If you don't want in, no problem. I'm moving on to the next. So it's the people that actually take massive action very fast are the ones that win. And that's exactly what I see here. It's massive action very fast. Executing with a sense of urgency. What do I always say? You need to execute with a sense of urgency, and that's what's happening.
Yep. So it's attracting big agents, and you did say there was 3 reasons. I think you got into one.
So that was number 1. Number 2 is the sheer fact of what I already mentioned, is you see other people doing it at scale, and it's a natural magnet. So like success leaves clues. So you're like, okay, why is this person made the move? It's like when we finally made the move, you start seeing all of these people making these moves. And then you start to understand that if you're a company at, say, let's just say, I'm just going to use a round number. Say you're at 70,000 agents. Taking a brokerage from 70,000 agents to like 150,000 agents is a lot easier than going from 20 or 0 agents to like 10,000 agents, and then going from 10,000 to 100,000. When you're at scale, when you're in scale mode, all of the kinks have already been worked out. The fields have been leveled. Now you're in like back to growth, right? So that's why, is because we've already surpassed all those growing pains. Do you remember what it was like back in 2020? Like some things, it was very rocky. So that's why big teams are very drawn to this model, is because 1, they get around other people, but 2, all of the kinks have already been worked out.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about the third reason, it's the accessibility in the tools and the systems, which I said I wanted to talk about. So you want me to lead this into number 10, I will. But it's, imagine bringing on a brand new agent. And before you were like the team lead, and you were like, man, I got to put this agent through my entire system, and I got to teach them all the basics just to have that agent bounce out and leave. Dude, if you talk to like some of the biggest coaches and the biggest producers, they always say the number one thing is just keep recruiting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep recruiting. You're just filling that pipeline of agents. Now you can send an agent directly into eXp's Fast Cap. It's a 6-week program, and you teach them all of the basics. Then they come to you, and now you actually have an agent that has some experience, and and they just shaved off 6 weeks of learning with your team. And maybe you inject that model into your team learning, so that way you're kind of like working together to raise that agent's bar, right? So, and then 2, this is plan B or part B to this, which do you just want to make this number 10?
I do.
The tools.
I got to say something first, because this is breaking news, what you're about to tell these people. The one thing that I like about what you said, the 3 things, is not one of them led with recruiting. And that, I feel like, is the biggest change, because from, what was it, about 2017 to 2020, we weren't at eXp, and every pitch was about recruiting, and it was about rev share and how much money you could make. And the pitches in the last year or 2 isn't pitches. It's actually agents reaching out and wanting to know more information because of the production. And so the meetings go differently now. It's not, here's how much money in rev share, here's how much stock. Everything is predicated around production and growing now. So that's my biggest change. And that's where I do feel, because we get pitched, and that's why I love being partners with you, is because you said you'll never leave any opportunity on the table again to be, multimillionaires in any way, shape, or form. So when a new brokerage, a new cloud brokerage, a new revenue share comes, you're the first in line to take the interview. You crunch the numbers and you're like, Jackson, this makes 0 sense. Like, we're going to lose so much money, and not just rev share or any of that. It's just financially it doesn't work, and they're not set up. And so the big tweak, guys, is if you heard about it in the past, it's probably a lot different now, like completely different. And we do invite you. Our emails are everywhere, but you can reach out to us. It's in the description. It's Jackson@realagentnow.com or Jesse@realagentnow.com or info@jacksonwilkie.com. You can get a hold of it. You guys know how to, but literally reach out to us. Our coaching, we're the number one YouTube agents in the entire world. Like, if you see other YouTube programs, we created this shit, right? Like, all of it. I've traveled the country. I've started all these YouTube channels. Jesse has scaled it. We work with teams. We've closed 800 plus homes. And guess what? In our upline, we have billion-dollar producers annually. So we can plug you into these systems too. It is amazing when you open up your mind to that. We would love for you to reach out to us and just see if it works. If not, we tell a lot of people it's not a fit for you, dude. Stay where you're at. So, or chicks. We have a lot of awesome kick-ass women that join us too. But last but not least, we got breaking news, J-Dow. Bum, bum, bum.
Just one quick thing back to what you were just saying there is, if somebody's leading with like, I always laugh when someone's like, well, you're going to get rich when we IPO. It's like, well, one, do you even know what an IPO is? And then two, what's going to be the valuation of that stock when you IPO? And what's the valuation of the share that they're giving you today? Now, then let's go ahead and work that equation backwards. And also let's look at the last brokerage that IPO'd and when they IPO'd in the same category. So when you start looking at all these numbers in reverse order, first of all, they may never actually go public. And then two, there's also all of these massive factors. But at the end of the day, look at the culture of the company, look at the people that are there. And it's all in alignment, dude. Doesn't matter what brokerage there is a persona of that brokerage and what's actually happening. So anyways, I think it's hilarious when people lead with that. And then when you ask them these questions, they have no clue and they're stuttering, right? And they're like, oh, I'll get back to you, this and that. And it's like, that's really sad.
Well, the people that go to that for the hope of IPO or the hope of getting in early are not the producers. They're people that need to make money a different way. So that's why you see the volume at eXp exponentially higher. It's because it's producers.
Just imagine.
That's the difference.
Just imagine. And if you ever read the book, oh gosh, I can't think of the name of it. It's the Brian Carruthers book, Building an Empire. He talks about this, like 99% of all like MLMs, let's just say, fail. So the reason I say that is because like the revenue share model is set up in the same structure. And so when you look at all these he talks about this, all these Me Too companies, is just think about the people that put all this time and energy into those companies. And if they would have just built that same thing on the company that already existed, the top one, because he talks about building his company on prepaid legal. Is he like, and he's like supposedly like the expert in the multi-level marketing space. He goes, you always, when you're building a multi-level marketing company, he's like, the opportunity is always there, whether it's Amway, prepaid legal, whatever. You're going to have the same opportunities no matter where you're at. And he's like, first movers advantage is a real thing, but 99% are failures. And actually 1% really explode. And you have like a real fast, but it's always the person that's first in this space. So he talks about like, it's just so much more valuable to build on a company that's already established, because it's going to take the exact same amount of work to do it. Like, think about back in the day when eXp was new. Brent Gove, 20,000 agents. But look at the other 5,000 agents that started when he did, and they have 0, right?
Yep.
Everyone thinks they're going to be that person. So I'm like, you really think that you're going to roll in this brokerage and you're going to do nothing and you're going to magically recruit all these people? Like, you're blowing smoke up your own butt. But anyways, breaking news, dude. This is something that I think is going to just revolutionize the game again. This is going to save teams so much money. CRM of choice just announced right now on this call. I knew it was coming. What is CRM of choice? So they talk about the eXp. People are always like, oh, this $85 eXp fee. That's just something that's a nice to have, right? No, that includes your CRM. That includes your SkySlope account. That includes all the EXP trainings that you get. Fast cap, which you would pay at $750 or $800 at Keller Williams for Bold. It would, all of the resources and systems that we have. CRM of choice now allows you to pick one of 3 CRMs: Bold Trails, which is KV Core. And what I'm going to tell you for the team is going to be a game changer. KV Core, which is Bold Trails. Number 2 is Closer. And then the third CRM of that option is
Go. It's a go ahead.
No,
Not go ahead.
No. Hold
Follow
on
up.
No, so that's another thing that they just announced is they're going to give us a discount for Follow Up Boss.
Because I know that's what like a lot of the majority of the big teams
use. Hold on one second. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, baby, the drama is real.
Okay, right here. It's Lofty. So it's Bold Trails, Close, and Lofty. So you get your choice. And when they'll run you through a little questionnaire and it'll show you which one is the best option. No additional cost. You're locked in for a year. If you want to change, you can. Here's the game changer for teams. 0 additional cost for each seat. So if you're a team lead and you're paying $400 a month for each seat on your CRM, and let's just say you have 20 agents on your team, and say you're using KV Core, and say it's $400 a month per team agent, and you have 20 agents. Guess what? eXp's got that to 0 now. So 400 times 20, that'd be an $8,000 a month savings. Times that by 12, $96,000 a year. Dude,
you like your numbers, dog.
There are teams out there. They said it's a minimum of it, like for a team. They said they're going to save a minimum of 20 grand a year, but there's teams out there that are going to be saving $250,000 a year because of this.
Jiminy Christmas, dude. Where the pros go to grow.
This is what I'm talking about. When your brokerage is positioning and you have a leader that cares about their agents and is doing the right thing, what does he do? Oh, is he just happy that we're just sitting there with what we have? No, we leverage our power. We leverage our size, and we go back to the negotiating table and renegotiate what we already have. So we are going to have a discount on Follow Up Boss because everyone uses Follow Up Boss. And guess what? That's a very expensive tool. It's very valuable. You couldn't get it for free. It's going to be a discount. And they're going to give you SysU for free for a single user. But if you're a team, you're also getting a discount on that as well. So once again, dude, I'm telling you.
Do they train you how to use all this stuff?
They train you how to use it all. Yep.
They like bring in the people that actually do it to train you.
So if you're going through the 6-week program of FastCap, your agent has SysU and you have SysU. So you have access to their dashboard so you can make sure that they're doing the activities to do those transactions and you can watch them all the way through. I'm telling you, this is such a no-brainer. It drives me crazy. It drives me freaking crazy when people are like, they just look at the surface level stuff.
Yep.
This is exactly why the number ones in every category are flocking faster than ever. And you're seeing it, dude. Every day it's another post. Number 1 team here is coming. Number 1 team's coming. Number 1 solo agent's coming. Number 1 luxury agent's coming. Commercial, blah, 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 blah. International, blah, 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 blah.
Yep. Yeah, it's international.
It's crazy, dude. I'm so excited. I'm like, and you feel the energy too. Like every Thursday.
They're calling it like eXp 2.0. So they're saying basically the growth that we're going to see now is relevant to what they saw at the very, very beginning. So this thing's going to start opening up and they're only going to give you more access, and the best of the best are only going to teach more. That helps everybody in the company grow is when everybody starts producing more. So it's an exciting atmosphere to be in. We do invite you again. Reach out to us. At the end of the day, I always say, at least you'll know after like a 20, 30-minute conversation, 15-minute, you're going to know whether it's a fit or not. And that's what's most important. So,
dude, that's the one thing I appreciate some of the most of it. Even Leo says this. He's like, eXp is not for everybody.
Yep.
Dude, and you don't want everybody either, because there's either people that are going to take you up or people that are going to take you down. And you want to be around the people that are going to help you grow and succeed. And just like I know, we've been in those situations before multiple times with agents that just suck the life out of you. And when you can finally get that breather, and maybe you're an agent and you move to another brokerage and you understand that, but without doing your due diligence, without interviewing brokerages and understanding what each one has to offer, what your value proposition is, or what the ones that you're looking at have to offer, at the end of the day, it all comes down to one person, and that's you, the agent, taking the action and doing what you have to make those things happen. And if your brokerage is not focused on production, it's the number one thing that pays the bills. Agents don't go to sleep thinking about how they're going to recruit another agent. Not even a team lead. A team lead doesn't go to bed. You know what they go to bed thinking about, Jackson? They go to bed thinking about how they can generate more leads that equal more closings for their agents to put more money in their bank accounts. That, at the end of the day, that's what makes the world go around.
Seems like the place I want to be.
Check.
We just wanted to get this one off the old chest. We know we got a lot of podcast viewers as well. You guys new to YouTube. We also do these weekly videos teaching YouTube for real estate at a super high level. And really everything. I'm going to start cracking Jesse down on just teaching overall real estate, just how to be a boss in real estate. So we'll do more of that. There's my for you YouTubers, info@jacksonwilkie.com. Here's Jesse's direct email if you want to debate him, if you want to call him, if you need help growing your business, that's the email you want. Jesse@realagentnow.com. That's REAL agentnow.com. Hit us up. We've got actually a few other of these podcasts. You can check them out in the playlist over right there. You can see it right there. Hey, give us a rating on the podcast. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. We'll catch you on the next one, homies.